It's the Fellowship of the Geek Show, a weekly podcast about comics, the comic book industry, and other geek pop culture. Music courtesy of Manny the Martyr. And now, on with the show!
Hey there, everybody. It's the Fellowship of the Geeks podcast. My name is Thomas Chick, and joining me for this episode is Mike Marlowe.
Hey, gang.
Les Webster.
Hello, all.
And Liz Newman.
Hello, everybody.
She sure knows how to make an entrance, don't she?
Yes,
Damn
exactly.
near lost her.
Oh,
She's all choked up because she's
I'm all
here.
choked up. So happy.
Maybe she should quit doing shots during the intro. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So much for me asking y'all how y'all are doing. I think we could have a pretty good idea. Hope everybody...
We're loaded for bear.
Or just loaded, one or the other. This is going to be a fun episode, guys.
Isn't it, though?
Hope everybody is doing okay out there. This is probably going to be a very short what's been going on in your corner of the galaxy, because we only recorded the last episode a couple of days ago. So, but go right ahead.
Not only that, but a lot of us were together chatting last night, so, you know.
I know it's shocking, but I don't really have anything.
Good night, everybody. Episode's over with.
Dun.
Yeah, since we recorded late, I'm still watching true crime on YouTube and catching up on Blacklist, so nothing special.
Alrighty, Mikey.
Yeah, I was pausing a little bit there just to see if she, because a lot of times when she says, "Oh, I don't have much," half an hour later she's still going. But you know, it's cool.
Oh, by the way.
Oh wait, you know what really grinds my gears? No.
Oh,
Yeah,
by
let's
the
make
way,
sure
I saw
not to
this
set
on-
me off with what you guys did.
Yeah, just take over ours, and that's fine too. There's no complaint in any of this. So yeah, anyway, so the only thing I've really kind of had time to do other than what we've been doing, I mean, I finished watching tonight's movie, and I actually got the missus to watch it with me, so that was entertaining. Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later. But the only other I actually managed to watch one of those Netflix remastered documentaries about music-related, music-adjacent documentaries. The one I watched is called Tricky Dick and the Man in Black, which was a really interesting look at specifically at the when in 1970 President Nixon invited Johnny Cash to perform at the White House, and there was a lot. Let's just say there was a lot of layers in all of that. So we got it. It spends an hour and it goes back through and kind of lays some of the groundwork for like the politics of the time, both for Nixon and Cash, and how different that really was. Not to just go too much into spoiler territory because it's really interesting. I have to admit I learned a lot about Johnny Cash that I didn't know, because I mean I wouldn't. I'm not what you would call a fan. I mean, I have great respect for what he did in his career for sure, because I do consider myself a music fan. But yeah, there's a lot of background stuff that I didn't know that was really interesting, and also a lot of background into some of what was going on in national politics at the time. Surprisingly, you don't really hear as much about that as you think you do, given how turbulent those times were. So it was interesting for sure. I would definitely recommend it. I enjoyed it.
Cool.
Nice.
It sounds like something I would find too. That's interesting. Well, for me, watching the movie for tonight and discovering other stuff on Netflix or Amazon Prime has been a lot of fun. I may have talked about it before, but I still enjoy watching the Warehouse 13 episodes. To me, some of the best innovative writing that's ever been appearing in television. And I highly recommend to take the opportunity to watch this stuff. So that's about it for me too. No pause.
Yeah, that was an interesting show. I did not watch every episode, but when I did catch it. It was always something interesting going on for sure.
Yep. For me, not a whole heck of a lot. Mainly stuff geared toward our Discord. Just started up a new event for March. It's our take of the NCAA tournament, and we won't say what that word is. The two words are, but I'm sure you already know. But
they trademarked it. That's why we're not going to.
That's right.
Get too specific about it. It's just like the NFL championship game. That's trademarked too. So
the big football game. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So our version's called Comic Craziness. I had actually originally came up with this back in 2011, and I kind of went over this a little bit in the Discord today. And when I actually thought of the idea, I went around trying to do internet search, and there was only like maybe a handful of websites that were doing something similar. And of course now a lot of them are doing it today, and podcasts are doing their version as well. So I kind of kicked myself that I did not keep it going. We ran it for about 3 or 4 years, and then I stopped. I threatened to bring it back a couple of times, but it just didn't work out. But once we got the Discord going, I was like, I would like to bring this back and have it as a exclusive activity for our Discord. So that's what's happening. And I didn't realize that it's the 10th anniversary of the first one. So that's kind of cool too. So
it is cool.
So I was kind of out there on the forefront and just didn't know it. And if I had, the old saying, if I knew then what I know now, things would have been different. So, oh well. Speaking of Discord, we do have one, as I just mentioned. You're more than welcome to come join us. We post a lot of news items. We post funny pictures, memes. We have exclusive activities each month. We do a meetup online, because, since we're not able to meet up in person for the most part for several reasons, and of course the pandemic is being the major one. We do one on our Discord. Just join the voice chat. So you're more welcome to come join us. You can download the Discord app. It's free. Signing up for an account is free. Come join us. There's an invite on our homepage, www.thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. So, yeah. it's been fun. Yeah, so you're more than welcome to come join us.
Please do.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We are concluding Spy Parody Month. I guess we can say that we've been using that term rather loosely in hindsight. Both spy and parody.
Ouch.
Ouch. Well, you got to be real here.
Very true.
And we are concluding with the 1967 film Casino Royale. And this is based, and I'm using air quotations when I say that, based on the Ian Fleming James Bond novel of the same name. A very impressive list of actors in this one. You get David Niven, Peter Sellers, Ursula Andress, Woody Allen, Orson Welles. I can keep on going. There's some actors that weren't even credited that show up in the film. So with that said, I'm going to step back and let's start talking about Casino Royale. And yes, you have to.
I didn't get this movie. I really didn't. I think I said that about one of the other ones we watched too.
Couldn't you say that for just about all of them?
Yeah, but this one I seemed to be more lost. The first 30 minutes was like, what? I didn't know if I was going to watch all of it because all of the rape and incest and all that kind of talk at the beginning, But the last 30 minutes...
That is legitimately one of the funniest scenes in the movie, though. But anyway, sorry.
That's all right. But the last 30 minutes of the movie was pretty cool, but it didn't seem to fit with the rest of the movie. So, yeah. I mean, when I finally said, what the fuck, was when the spaceship appeared. It was like,
oh, that was hilarious.
Is this sci-fi? Is this spy?
That was like the biggest why the fuck not moment you could have in a movie.
Right. And then to have the horse run up on it was like, sure.
Yeah, if you hadn't given up yet by then, oh man.
Yeah. It was, yeah.
It was, yeah.
It was very, very much, yeah. But there was also a lot of no.
Yeah, there's a lot of no. I watched this one on Amazon, and one of the trivia things on there said that a lot of these stars didn't realize they were signing up for a comedy spoof. Like,
okay, that I can
I
entirely
believe. Really disappointed.
Given the sheer volume of stars that were in this movie, I entirely believe that.
Yeah.
Holy crap.
And some of the things that they said about Peter Sellers, he just seemed like a real douchebag on this film. He would leave the set and be gone for days at a time, I think he punched the director whenever the director was like, "Hey, man, you can't leave for days at a time." So it was kind of like, wow.
Well, from what I read, he really had some issues with Orson Welles, and I'm not sure what all the problems were, but that's what kind of stemmed some of it. Plus the fact you talk about some of the actors not realize that it was a comedy. From what I also read, Peter Sellers really didn't want this to be a comedy. He thought, hey, this is James Bond. You don't make jokes about the guy and all that. He tried to do it as serious as possible. Supposedly.
Well, the rift between Orson Welles and Peter Sellers, what Amazon says, was partially caused by the arrival on set of Princess Margaret, the sister to Queen Elizabeth II. Sellers had known her previously and greeted her in an ostentatious manner to ensure all the cast and crew noticed. However, the princess walked straight past him and made a big fuss over Orson Welles. Sellers stormed off the set and refused to film with Welles again.
Yeah.
That's okay. I think they were only on screen together for about 12 minutes anyway.
Right.
Yeah. But then there was something else they said that Peter Sellers hired a different writer to write his part of the script so he could outshine Welles and Woody Allen. He wanted the better lines. They say he just didn't seem like a very good guy.
Sounds like there was a lot of ego on this flick.
Yeah.
And the fact that it literally had 5 separate directors didn't help.
Yeah.
Because one of my issues with it is, there's very little cohesiveness to this movie. It just feels like a bunch of random scenes strung together.
Yeah.
It feels like 5 directors were involved with making a film.
It kind of does, yeah. And it also feels like they had too many major stars. So I'm not at all surprised that there was a ton of excess ego on the set.
Yeah.
And some of that I think does bleed through a bit into the film. But yeah.
They said this was also one of the first times that a movie wasn't screened for critics prior to its release. So they didn't want anybody to get a preview or nothing.
Because they knew it was bad.
Yep, it's either going to sink or swim, guys.
Right, they knew it was going to be controversial, and so they knew word would get out if they screened it. Also, it's not great, but
yeah.
I mean, that's a tradition that lives on till today.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, if they realize that, hey, this is going to be horrible, they won't let the critics see it before it's actually released to the public.
Right, so they can make a few $100,000 off of it before
Yeah.
word gets out that it's a steaming pile.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's a shitburger.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I didn't get the plot. They're going to
Plot?
play Baccarat to raise money, or I didn't get that. I don't know what they were doing.
See, the funny thing is that's actually the part from the actual James Bond novel, Casino Royale. That's the plot of the movie, of the book. Is that part was actually pretty true to the book. It only took up about 20 minutes of the movie, and I don't know what the hell the rest of that stuff was, but
I don't either.
there was a lot of dicking around, avoiding telling the story. I don't know what the purpose of it was. I mean, I think clearly you get 5 directors and you get 5 different stories in this movie, and they do not line up.
No, none of them came through.
No, I'm not sure which one actually had the Ian Fleming novel in his pocket, but it was clearly only one of them.
Right.
But yeah, the idea was that this guy has basically embezzled money away from his criminal organization and has to win a shit ton of money playing cards to earn it back, so that his organization doesn't kill his ass.
And they wanted Bond dead, so they came up with like 50 Bonds, which that made no sense. Even the girls were going to name James Bond. Like, okay. Yeah, because I'm totally going to confuse a chick with James Bond.
That was not part of the book.
Thank God, because that was stupid.
I don't know what the hell that was. I find myself wondering why David Niven did this movie in the first place. I mean, maybe he thought it would look like it would be fun. I don't know. But, yeah. I also have to chuckle at the scene you were offended by, given that the actress telling all of those stories was Deborah Carr, who was a multiple award-winning actress.
Yeah.
That was awesome. Because everything she did and won for was very serious, dramatic stuff. And to see her cut loose in that scene was awesome. I enjoyed the hell out of that. I mean, I honestly wasn't listening to what she was saying for the most part. She wandered off with it, and I was just like, oh God, I was just watching her do it. I wasn't listening to what she was saying. It was just great.
When you could understand what she was saying.
Oh, she's got an accent, no doubt.
Yeah, big time.
She's Scottish. There's no question. But yeah.
And then it was cool. She came back as the nun and helped him again.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, this was a bit of a mess of a movie.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised that they managed to keep it out of the... I mean, other than it, I don't think the Bond producers were involved. They managed to keep it separated pretty effectively. And the only reason I have this movie is because I am at times a bit of a completionist, and I wanted to at least see it, and at the time there was no other way to see it other than buying the DVD. So I bought the DVD, and I watched it, and I promptly forgot about it because apparently it was terrible.
Yeah.
And now,
you're welcome.
And now here we are coming back to it. No, I'm actually fine with it. I think I have no problem with terrible movies. I like to see entertaining terrible movies. This was entertaining to a degree. I mean, if for nothing else than for like the cameos, you start spotting people in the movie that you're like, wow, I can't believe they stooped to do this movie, and that gets to be fun. I mean, the whole Peter O'Toole thing was hilarious. It was literally 15 seconds of screen time, and it was awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was overall, I wouldn't recommend. And it was long too. Holy monkeys, it was long. This one was longer than the one Liz was complaining about being long.
Yeah, I didn't realize this one was as long either. But yeah, if you look at the credits on Amazon, almost all of them, almost everybody who worked on this set just did not like Peter Sellers.
No, sounds like he was kind of being a dick.
Yeah.
Really?
Well, he wanted it to be serious because he wanted to play Bond serious. And they were like, well, this is a comedy, dude, you know. So.
Right. If nothing else, there's no way that the producers of the James Bond series was going to let that happen.
Right.
So in order to get away with this, they had to do it the way they did it. There was just kind of no other way. This had to not be a competitive movie.
Yeah, it was weird.
Because it came out right before You Only Live Twice, which was the fifth one. Yeah, it was weird, and it was intentionally weird. I don't know how intentional. I wouldn't be surprised if doing the 5 directors thing was semi-intentional to make it weird. But it definitely made it hard to watch.
Yeah.
I had a chuckle fairly early on. My wife, when we were watching it together, and she, I want to say it was like 45 minutes in, and she made the comment, because we had stopped it, because I can't just sit and watch a whole movie anymore because my brain doesn't work that way. But so we had stopped it, like right as Sir James, right as David Niven is talking to Ursula Andress for the first time, that whole scene. And my wife she made the comment that it already seemed like that all of the bad guys in this movie were women. And I was like, oh, that's funny because we just had that conversation about about another movie, about one of these other movies.
The downfall to all men is women.
We were talking about this when we were doing the Flint movies, and yeah. Funny she made that comment right there. Yeah. Cause, I mean, it turns out later on they're not actually the bad guys, but they're kind of that subplot up front with one of the directors. I'm not sure which, but the organization around Deborah Carr's character. They definitely seemed like the villains of the flick there for a little bit. But then they disappear, and you never hear from them again because we moved on to a different director.
Different script.
Mm-hmm. Different story entirely.
Hey, but at least Hitler made an appearance in this one, right?
Oh, God. Get right.
At least.
Exactly. See?
You're talking offensive now.
Wow.
Couldn't get around it.
No.
I'm telling you.
Yeah, she could.
She
could.
No, I'm talking about the movie. Couldn't.
Because we also had Napoleon, and I forgot who the third one was.
Well, in the whole German impressionistic film segment there, that was ridiculous. I even made the crack to the missus that because she said, "What is this making fun of?" Because she has never watched any of those movies with me, so I had to explain to her the whole German impressionist thing. And I said, and I swear, if I didn't know any better, they were making fun of Suspiria, but they didn't because that was 10 years later. Because there was a definite feel there that I thought kind of paralleled. Seriously, for about 8 minutes in the movie. That's all it was. But it almost seemed like it was making fun of a movie that wasn't going to come out for 10 years. Maybe that's because Suspiria was making fun of German impressionist movies. I don't know. From the 20s. Who knows? Somebody get Dario Argento on the phone. We'll ask him. So what'd you think, Les?
Well, as the sane one in this group...
We've never doubted that for a minute, of course.
I thoroughly enjoyed this movie. And I'm not looking at it that it's a bad movie. I thought it was a good, topical movie at that time. There was, I'm going to hear it, I know, but there was one part that I did not understand. Go ahead, say it.
You're going to have to narrow it down.
I didn't understand
I was thinking, like, one part, that was when Evelyn was captured and was forced to be in the chief's dungeon because he was ready to race off and save the girl.
That was a hell of a transition, wasn't it?
Yes, that was the only part I had a problem with, though. This is one of my favorite movies, and it is because it was making fun of the character James Bond, and that's all that I saw was that they were making fun of him. The idea that he was a womanizer that was running around and blowing up all the women. And that's the term that was used, which I thought was funny because in this movie, that's what David Niven's character was doing also. I like this movie. Especially the soundtrack. I think the soundtrack is fantastic, and it to me, it carries the movie at times. I don't know what I can tell you. I think it was something that I appreciate you folks taking it to watch, to add it to this list. But personally, I did not see it as a bad movie. I know there were multiple directors, and usually that means trouble. But in this, I think it was segmented enough that it was something to thoroughly enjoy. If you're a Bond enthusiast, probably not so much. But for someone, like when I saw it when it first came out, I was a youngster that had been watching all of the Bond movies. I took this one kind of to heart and thought, yeah, this is okay. This is fun. It's a departure, and I can understand that. But it was something that could actually, well, I guess, stand alone. I'm into this movie. I love this movie. I think the characters, did you know that, and I'm sure you've seen it in the listing, but you had Bernard Cribbins in this movie. He played the taxi driver that went from London to West Germany. And how, we don't know, but...
The car was smoking when they got there.
Yeah. And he was in one of the he was in one of the Doctor Who movies. He played a character in that. He also played in Doctor Who when David Tennant was the Doctor.
Oh, that's cool. They brought him back for that?
They brought him back for that.
Neat.
To me, there were just so many fun things about this that I can't, I'm sorry, I just can't agree with the others. I thought it was pretty cool. I think the way they handled it was cool. Stepping off the soapbox now.
Hey, I think it's cool that you saw it a different way than we did. That's totally fine.
Yeah.
But none of you are saying that it was correct. I got that too, okay?
You know, it's an experience thing. You experienced it differently than we did. That's fine. That's okay.
Mm-hmm.
We don't always have to agree on everything every single time.
No, and
hell,
it's
that would
good
be
that
kind
we
of
don't.
boring, right?
Yeah. But like I said, at that time, I thought it was pretty pertinent. We hadn't even hit the moon yet, so this was a departure. And then you said that this was months before Moonraker?
You only live twice.
Oh, you only live twice? Okay. If it was Moonraker, I'd go and do a slap at the forehead. But I'm one of those that does enjoy it.
Hell, I still would like to see a serious remake of Moonraker anyway. I think it would be fun.
Yeah.
Now that we're far enough away from the Star Wars phenomenon that we could get a real version of it. But anyway, I actually think that it would be fun to do as a period piece. Do it set in the 50s. That's how I would do it. But that's a bit of a tangent, to say the least.
What do you think, Thomas?
I'm still kind of on the fence. It was an unusual film, to say the least.
Right.
But
Agreed.
God, I'm watching this and I'm going, man, David Niven in a serious James Bond film would have been awesome.
Mm.
And then I went, oh God, Peter Sellers in a serious James Bond film would have been pretty awesome. That would have turned some heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was a little crazy. Just a little. I still don't know. I still... I'm not going to say I hated it. I'm not going to say that I loved it. It's like, I'm still not sure.
I didn't hate it. I just didn't get it.
Yeah.
You know?
Fair point. And hate may be too strong of a word. I'm not going to say I didn't like it. I'll say that instead of saying hated it. It's not that I didn't like it. It's not that I did like it. I may have to, I hate to say it, but may have to watch it again.
I'd watch the last 30 minutes again.
See, I'd watch the first 30 minutes again. I'm the other way around. I'm not going to say I wanted it to be serious either. I didn't, but
Yeah.
I did. I will go as far as to say I didn't like it, and a lot of it was that it just I just couldn't. I didn't have any trouble following it. That was the thing. But there were some really good scenes in it, and there were just some really terrible scenes in it, and some things that I thought just didn't fit. And I mean, I thought the ones that didn't fit outnumbered the ones that did, and so
Yeah.
It's fine. Everybody gets an opinion.
But only one matters.
But only
Thank
less
you.
is right. Absolutely.
Thank
Totally.
you.
Right.
I won't argue with that. Hell. Yeah, it just there was and unfortunately I think a lot of what I thought didn't work was the same stuff that didn't work in some of the other ones we've watched so far. And it just I don't know. Like I was saying to Les earlier, I was saying I thought it was good that we had watched all of the others before we watched this one. I'm actually wondering if maybe I'm thinking that the other way around now. Maybe it was a bad idea to watch the other ones first. I don't know.
Colored your opinion.
Maybe a little bit. Maybe I didn't like any of them enough, but I don't know if I would have liked this one better before. I must have not hated it too bad because I could barely remember any of it from watching it for the first time, what was probably 15 years ago. I mean, it clearly didn't make an impression on me then, for whatever reason. This time it sort of irritated me more than anything else, but I don't know. I do not think I am opposed to the idea of parodying James Bond. I think he's an inherently comical enough or an inherently one-dimensional enough character that it wouldn't be hard to do a good parody of it. I'm just not sure this was the good parody of it.
I just want to take exception to one of your statements, and that was about watching these movies, and you made it sound like we're going to continue watching these movies.
Oh no, not at all.
Well,
This is the last one.
If you want to, Les.
No. It's already been stated. This is the last one of these we're doing.
It's over. I may watch Mr. Bean for fun, but it's over.
Yeah.
So everybody make up your own mind.
Absolutely. I mean, we don't do this to discourage anybody from watching anything, really.
Mm-mm.
You should watch what you want to watch. I mean, and honestly, I mean, like I did earlier a week or two ago, I mean, I intentionally watched a movie that one of you did not recommend because I was curious. I mean, perfectly. I think everybody is perfectly within their rights to watch stuff that we say don't watch. I mean, and I wouldn't say don't watch this movie either. For Casino Royale, I wouldn't say don't watch it. I would say be prepared because it's different.
No doubt about that.
Yeah.
All right. On that note, we are wrapping up Spy Parody Month. No one's going to say thank God. Okay.
I think we already implied the crap out of that. I mean, come on.
I've already got something lined up for next February, for next February's comedy month, and I'll just say y'all will be very happy about what I've got planned. So, how's that for a tease?
If we can just get out of the 60s, I'll be happy. Shit.
We won't be in the 60s, but it may be more like 30s, 40s, and 50s.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Sounds like a fun little tease.
Mm-hmm. I'll just say this: there's a very significant anniversary next year, so and we plan to spend the entire month celebrating.
Ooh.
Blondie? All right.
Woohoo!
What about Debbie Harry?
They made movies from the Blondie comic strip?
Yes, they did.
Oh, wow. Okay. Oh, you know what? Okay.
Penny Singleton and Arthur Lake. Oh, God, it's sad that I know that.
And you knew it
No,
like that.
No, it's, yeah. No, what's sad, yeah, that you didn't even have to think about it. It just popped into your head. But no, that's not.
I remember watching those when I was a kid, and I hadn't seen them in forever. They're obviously not shown anymore. They're maybe they got to be on some of these streaming services.
Yeah,
Sure
I bet
thing.
you can find them in the public domain somewhere.
Yeah, that's possible too. But I remember watching them when I was a kid, and seemingly like them. So I may have to check those out again. Okay, I'm scrapping everything. We're doing Blondie next year. All right.
No. Please, no.
Well, I thought you were happy about that, Les. Come on.
We gotta
Just as a surprise.
we gotta make this tangent valid somehow, right?
Oh, okay. All right. And with all of that, we are going to take a quick break and be back with our weekly picks. And we're back. It's time for our weekly picks, and I lead off this week. And for my first choice, I am going with a omnibus from Marvel Comics. It is Captain America by Jack Kirby. This collects issues 193 through 214, annuals 3 and 4, and the Marvel Treasury Special Captain America's Bicentennial Battles. This was back when Jack Kirby returned to Marvel and took over a few books, including Captain America, which he co-created back in the 40s. This was a really fun but weird run, which of course is Kirby, you expect. But I would love to read that Treasury Special again. The Bicentennial story was really good with him. It's Mike's favorite thing. He was time traveling.
Oh boy.
Yay!
Yeah.
But no, this was a fun read. So it'd be cool to kind of go back and check these stories out again.
I like the sound of it.
Yep.
Alrighty, Les, you're next.
My first choice is a collection from DC, Black Canary, Bird of Prey. This is one of those setups that DC has been doing where they did the anniversaries for the Flash, for Superman, for Batman, for Wonder Woman, and others. This one is a collection of stories from as early as the 40s for Black Canary and runs up through, I'm going to say, almost just under the mid-run of Flash. So I want to see this. I want to see about the character and how she's portrayed through the time. So I'm in on this. I'm going to make sure that my comic book shop has this on the shelf.
Cool.
Yeah, that would be an interesting character to kind of look into a little bit. Because, yeah, that would be fun.
Because mostly you only know her because of Green Arrow.
Right. She's kind of sidekick most of the time, which sucks, but, you know.
Yeah. This was on my radar, and I'm glad that DC is doing this. One of the things I've been kind of upset about recently, because I've gone back and read some of the Golden Age collections of Batman and Wonder Woman. And I do have some of the Superman. That's going to be next on my list. But I'm thinking, why is it just those three? You know, why haven't they done a Justice Society collection from the 40s? I would love to read the Golden Age Flash, and Green Lantern, and some of the other characters. It would be nice to kind of read some of those and see how the characters were handled back then. So I applaud DC for at least doing this, because, like you said, it covers a couple of decades stories, which is very cool. But I think they need to do more of it, and not just focus on the recent stories and only 2 or 3 set characters. Hint, Batman. You know, and I understand with everything that's been going on with DC, they have cut back on their collections due to all the upheaval and all that. I hope they reconsider and start trying to collect some of the stuff that's a little bit more obscure, but I think there would be a demand. And Black Canary's been very popular since the Birds of Prey first showed up back in the 90s. So, you know, and of course she was in the film, and of course she was part of Arrow and all that. So there's people that are familiar with the character and would like to read more. So
yeah.
So this is a good start.
Cool.
Alrighty, Liz.
All right. For my first pick, I'm going with one from Boom Studios called Proctor Valley Road. This is wrote by Grant Morrison, so I'm either going to love this or hate it. I think I'm going to love it, though. 4 misfit teens are wanting to go to a concert, so they put together like a haunted spook tour, and they take a bunch of their classmates out to Proctor Valley Road. Well, a bunch of them come up missing, and now these kids have got to find all these other kids before the town tears them apart. So, looks like it's going to be set in the 70s. So, I don't know. I kind of like the sounds of this one. He said a couple of years back he was tired of writing for mainstream media comics, which I kind of took it as for Marvel and DC with all the work that he's done with them. But really, when I see the projects outside of what he's done since then, I think he's just tired of writing superhero stories. So this is going to give us a little bit, you know, of we're our own hero kind of thing. So I'm excited to see what he's doing with it.
Nice.
Mm-hmm.
Does sound
Yeah,
interesting.
I had this on the list too.
Yep.
Very nice.
Alrighty. Mike, you're next.
Okie dokie. So my first pick is from American Mythology. And this is the first issue of a series called McCandless and Company. And the two main characters are Carrie McCandless and Jessica Williams, and they are a pair of private detectives who work together. And the deal is that they couldn't be more opposite. So it's a nice little setup. I don't want to call it a trope, but it's not an uncommon situation for private detective stories, sort of thing, like crime books. And that alone I am interested in, just partly because I'm not used to seeing stuff like this out of American Mythology, so I'm curious to see how it caught their attention. The other interesting part is that with this first issue, they are actually going to take the time to establish some backstory a little bit. This is kind of the way I'm reading the synopsis is this sounds like a series of kind of short stories about how they kind of came together and started working together and how well they work together and all of that. So I like the idea that they're actually going to take some time to set up their own characters. I think we forget to do that sometimes, and I think sometimes it's a good idea to actually stop and do that instead of trying to be subtle about it all the time. And I think you lose something there sometimes. So this is appealing to me in that regard. It's an interesting way to tell a story.
Yeah.
Me too.
Nice. Alrighty, it is my turn again, and for my second pick, I'm going with another omnibus from Marvel Comics, and this is the official Handbook Marvel Universe Deluxe Edition. If you have listened to our prior episodes, you might recall that I'm a sucker for these type of books that are breaks down the characters, their history, power sets, all that kind of fun stuff. And DC had Who's Who, and Marvel had this handbook. And the thing about Marvel's version is they kind of tuned it to where it could be used toward the role playing game system they had back in the day from TSR. So this is the deluxe edition. It collects all 20 issues. It's 1,392 pages.
Dang.
Wow.
So it's a big book.
That's massive.
So but just about everybody that was around, living, dead, technology, maps, everything is in this book. It was in that series, so now it's in this omnibus. So if you're kind of an info junkie and kind of like that kind of stuff, here you go.
Yep, I remember when these were coming out originally. It was a lot of fun.
Mm-hmm.
So,
and we did use them.
Yes, we did.
Good choice.
Alrighty, Les.
My second book is Wonder Woman, Earth 1, Volume 3. This is the ending of the story written by Grant Morrison and illustrated by Yannick Paquette. And in this one, Diana is now Queen of the Amazons, and she has to assemble the Amazon tribes for the first time in a millennium. They are fighting Maxwell Lord, who has assaulted Paradise Island, and in this one, of course, you got it laid out. It's the Amazons versus Lord and his troops. I've got the first two. This one is definitely going to be on the bookshelf also.
Cool.
Nice.
And you said Grant Morrison?
Grant Morrison.
Huh.
As I live and breathe.
I've heard that name before somewhere. Where
Yeah,
is it?
it seems vaguely familiar.
Strangest damn thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, right after I said he wasn't going to write superheroes, he's doing Wonder Woman. You like that?
I think this was written before he made his statement.
This
Okay.
was a few years
Tell you
ago.
the truth.
Did it just to make you look bad, Liz?
Right. Thanks, Les.
You're welcome.
Somebody take the keys away.
Only it were that simple.
Right.
Wow.
All right, Liz, you're next.
All right. Well, my second one is not a Grant Morrison book.
Are you sure?
Right. I'm going with the Joker. This is part of the Infinite Frontier. Now, I have not read number 0. I have it, but I haven't read it. But apparently the Joker comes out of that as the world's most wanted man. So not only is he wanted in Gotham, now he's wanted around the world. It looks like they're going to have a secondary, what they're calling a backup story with Punchline. I guess this will kick off her new one. I'm not crazy about Punchline, but they're going to be talking with Harper Row becomes Bluebird to save her brother. So that should be pretty interesting. James Tynion at the reign. So should be a pretty good little Joker story. Oh, and also there are 23 covers for this comic. 23.
And how many are you going to buy?
Well, Campbell has 3. So
at least 3.
at least 3. Yeah. But Neil Adams has got one. Frank Quitely, I think he's got like 3 covers on this. Because not only is it a Joker story, since it's got the Punchline story too, some of these covers are Punchline. And then like J. Scott Campbell, he did one of the Joker, one of Punchline, and then one of them together. So. Aww. So, yeah. It's some pretty nice artwork for sure.
Oh, by sure.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
All right. Mikey.
All right. My second pick is a graphic novel from Dark Horse, and it is entitled Gert and the Sacred Stones. This is the story of a young woman who's an orphan named Gert. Not that Gert, Liz. Different Gert.
Darn it.
We are into a faraway land, though, so that's, it's
Almost.
all good. No, this is not a comedy, as far as I can tell. But yeah, the deal is she lives in a land that is basically surrounded by fog, and the fog contains dangerous animals and monsters, and she has decided that she is going to do something that she is completely not allowed to do, and that is become a warrior. And so that's where the story is going, and I think I like stories like that. I think it's going to be really fun. And I also found this interesting because this was originally created in Italy, so to get to see a sample of comics from a different country, I think it's always fun. It's always interesting. It's always a learning experience. So I think this is going to be fun.
Very nice.
I
Yeah.
like it.
All righty. Any special shout outs this week?
I want to give a shout out to Les for putting up with us, just in general, picking on his favorite movie.
We love you.
And I love you kids too.
There's no way in hell he'd keep showing up for this if he didn't. So,
Right.
all the abuse.
There is that.
with that being said, we'll go ahead to our regular shout-outs. First of all, I want to thank Pop Goes the Culture Podcast Network for allowing us to be a part of a great group of fellow podcasters. Please check them out. There will be a link in the show notes for you to do so. We also recommend that you check out the fine men and women who make up Podern Family on Twitter, who've been so kind as to spread the word of the fellowship. And the best way to check them out is to do a search, hashtag Podern Family, all one word. Just scroll through, and whatever catches your eye, please download that episode. And we wish you a pleasant listening. I'm sure you'll have a great time. Thank you guys for your support as always. Want to thank Manny the Martyr for supplying the music to our podcast. We want you to check out their music. There will be a link in the show notes for you to do so. Thank you guys as always. And finally, you, dear listener, thank you for downloading and listening to today's episode. We appreciate it. We'd love to hear from you. Any kind of feedback, comment, question, complaint, observation, what have you, please send them our way. And there are several ways you can do this. Our email address is email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. Or you can go to the website, go to the About Us page, and there's a contact form that you can fill out there. Obviously, we talked about our Discord. There's invite on the main page. There's also invite on our social media little tabs. So there's one there. So just click on that. You can join us. It is free, and you can either contact us through a DM, or there is a feedback channel where you can post whatever observations you would like to pass along to us there. We're also on social media. On Facebook, we are The Fellowship of Geeks. We're obviously on Twitter, @FellowshipGeeks. We recommend that if you do go this route, to go toward Twitter, as we're not on Facebook as much as we once were. So you get a faster response if you contact us through Twitter. If you like to follow our personal Twitter accounts, Mike can be found @MikeyGeek. Liz can be found @LN_geek. Les may or may not be found under @FakeLesWebster. We'll just let you kind of figure out if that's him or not. And I can be found @TomTCGeek. And from wherever you download our episodes, if you would please take a couple moments and rate and review us, it would be greatly appreciated. Anything else before we say goodbye?
Just thanks, everybody.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening, everybody. We do appreciate your support. Until next time, geek on, my friends.
We thank you for listening to the show. Comments, suggestions, and questions can be sent to email@thefellowshipofthegeeks.net. You can follow us on Facebook @The Fellowship of the Geeks and on Twitter @FellowshipGeeks. Until next time,